Welcome to Digital Nation, our weekly jamboree through the highlights of local TV across the UK. From Roald Dahl to Harry Potter, our childhood favourites are in the spotlight this week. Plus, spray cans at the ready, the Graffiti festival transforming Birmingham. A story of survival to surfing the waves in Scotland. And this isn't a stitch-up. The Ninja Knitters overrunning a Lancashire town. Don't forget to tell us what you think. Get in touch on Twitter using the hashtag #DigitalNation. This week we're starting with a real cliffhanger. Let's head to Glasgow to meet some intrepid climbers who battle gravity and the elements to scale sheer rock faces and hear how they got to grips with this demanding sport.
I've been climbing for about 15 years. My dad got me into climbing, dragged me up some big scary routes when I was about 11. It's taken me to some really amazing places. It motivates me to get out and explore parts of Scotland and parts of the world that otherwise I might not have gone to. And just that real sense of adventure and journeying, and whether that's on your own in your own head and with your own body, or whether it's part of a team, it's pretty special.
It's hard. My first experience, I guess, was winter climbing because you're facing the elements. There's nothing like the wind in Scotland in the winter time. Scared? Yeah. You obviously get a lot more used to heights, especially when you get in the zone. You don't really think about it. You'll get really kind of focused and you'll be like, oh, I'm really high. Usually when I arrive at a problem or a route that I've never seen or done before, quite an important part of succeeding at that is to visualise the route or problem beforehand. So what I would usually do is I would have a glance at the route and get a kind of idea of where it goes, and then I might break it down and work through each move. When I'm on a big climb, I'm usually pretty focused, so I'm not really thinking about much apart from each move. And I guess that's the special thing about climbing, is that it's so engaging. It really comes down to a sort of meditation, or just being present and really focused on the task at hand. It's definitely something that climbers, like every climber, will explore, and it's how far you push it, that kind of determines the outcome, I guess.
Now, when graffiti makes the headlines, it's usually painted as an eyesore. But let's not tar it all with the same brush. In Birmingham, the Festival of Colours is seeing streets in the Digbeth area of the city transformed in a kaleidoscope of spray can creativity.
2,000 cans of spray paint, scores of street artists and hundreds of art lovers helped to transform the streets of Digbeth as part of the City of Colours festival. Walls and buildings became blank canvases for aspiring and established artists alike.
We've got some big names. We've got Inky, we've got Key Detail and Ubaba, who've come from New York. We've got Broken Fingers from Israel. And then we've got a lot of local artists who may not have worked on this scale before. So this is a great opportunity for them to mix with their peers.
Whilst there was plenty of talent on display across the event, and artists from all over the world, the biggest name was arguably Inky. The London-based street artist is one of the foremost faces in the street art scene.
So the idea behind this is going to be a bit like an old Victorian ghost sign in a kind of classic font style, so City of Colours. It's going to have the skyline of Digbeth behind it.
This is the second time that City of Colours has been held in Birmingham, and as the size of the festival has grown, so has the audience.
I'm really impressed with the quality of the art and the artist's skills. Yes, it's fantastic.
It's really nice, it's very creative. I think it just brings out the whole community together. I think it really adds to the area. I think it really shows local talent and skills that we've got in Birmingham.
Yeah man, it's quite busy today, and I've just come along just to see how it is, because I paint the sketch myself. So it's looking good so far. I'm going to take a look.
The artwork certainly seems to be a hit with locals, and will serve as a legacy for the festival, as well as a constant reminder of the talented artists across the region.
With your average festival, when it's done, it's all cleared away, everyone goes home, you didn't know anything happened there in the first place. But what we have now is this beautiful large outdoor art gallery, which people can come and enjoy for free at any time.
The street art scene in the UK is growing rapidly, and if City of Colours is anything to go by, that growth looks likely to continue.
The beautiful game transcends borders, ages and cultures. It's watched, enjoyed and played by millions around the world. But just because we can't all be Beckham doesn't mean we shouldn't have a go. In Portsmouth, a football club for amputees is going from strength to strength, giving players the chance to get back on the pitch.
The loss of a limb can be caused by a number of reasons, such as an accident, cancer, or sometimes the limbs are missing at birth. Whatever the reason, it's easy to assume that someone with a missing limb has to miss out on playing sports. There was a time when these guys maybe thought that football might not be part of their lives anymore. But clearly, that's not the case.
I was 15, came out with the roller coaster and just hit every single pole. Before I lost my leg, I saw all about football, and then being told I can't play again, and then being told 10 years later there's a football team I can play. It just brought back childhood memories.
Used to play football with what you call sort of an able-bodied team just down at the local football park, but I used to play in goal, so playing out on pitch and playing on sticks is completely different really.
Ray Westbrook founded the Portsmouth Amputee Football Club and the team practices once a week.
Obviously it was mainly just for me in the first place, so I didn't have to travel to train with other teams, like the northern teams, like Peterborough, London, things like that, so I found a group of amputees in Portsmouth so I could start a Portsmouth amputee team up and train just round the corner. I think just finding something that you can go and do and forget about your problems for a while is got to be helpful. It helped me through my time, so playing sport, and when you're involved you kind of forget about your disability when you're doing it, so yeah, I think it kind of gives you a break from the worries that you usually have.
Now, the stories of Roald Dahl continue to make their mark on millions of children around the world. From tittering at the twits to hiding behind the sofa for fear of the witches, his tales are extraordinary and unforgettable. And now an Oxford publishing house has released the Roald Dahl Children's Dictionary.
The Oxford Roald Dahl Dictionary is a fully functioning dictionary. It's got real words. You can look up elevator, you can look up marshmallow. You can also look up invented words. Roald Dahl invented hundreds of words. So if you want to know the difference between ringbella and trogglehump, that's the dictionary for you. He played around with language. He used puns, he used malapropisms, he used rhyme, he used spoonerisms. But it took 5 years of rigorous research. We went back into the archives. We created a big database. We called it the Oxford Roald Dahl Corpus. It was a database into which we poured all of Dahl's language. And then we had linguistic software tools to look and see what kind of words did he use most frequently, what kind of words did he use that are not really in the common domain. Some of the words, you can guess what they are. Some of the words that start with cr and gr, you know it might be something like griggle and grittle and grubber, might be something that is quite hard, harsh things, or he used onomatopoeia a lot, so he used softer sounds like sl and sw words, and you think of slimy and slippery, but he used words like swallop and swiggle and swimmel and swabble. Our aim was to create a dictionary to engage children, to reflect the kind of language and words children are reading, and also to support them in their writing. So if they can look at the dictionary, engage with words, create their own language, they'll become powerful writers and readers.
From ballet to bolero and tango to twerking, dancing is simple fun that helps us feel great. And that's probably why a project to get some rather older members of the community moving to the music has been met with such big smiles. Let's boogie on down to Nottingham to find out more.
Hands up, baby, hands up. Give me your heart, give me your heart, give me.
Out of the armchair and hands up in the air, the residents at Palmer Court in Lenton are having a blast at getting fit.
I like the games, I get on well with the people, and just come down here, have a game of darts, a game of balls or whatever. I think it's great, you know.
It lifts you if you feel low, it just lifts you, it gives you that energy feeling inside you, you know.
Led by teacher Maverick, the community scheme aims to get tenants socialising as well as into sports.
First of all, it's to get the tenants out of their houses, out of their apartments, and participating in a group exercise. So the first thing we do is do a group warm-up, where we have a little bit of a sing-song, we do some exercises to help with their arms, their shoulders, their necks, and then we do the activities. You know, getting them to know each other. You never know when you're going to need a good neighbour. And yes, I have sometimes got to tell them to keep quiet because it's so noisy. It's fantastic. It's absolutely brilliant.
They're just down here, they're just laughing, they're talking, they stay behind afterwards, chatting about their own personal lives and what they used to do years ago. It is a really good way of socialising.
Only a couple of sessions into the 12-week course, and some say they're already feeling the benefits.
I feel good, because first time I couldn't walk for a long period. Now I walk everywhere I'm going, and I enjoy it, keep me fit.
The scheme has clearly been a huge hit with Palmer Court so far, and Maverick has definitely made a lasting impression on his class.
Bring your hands up, give me your heart, give me your heart.
And that brings us to the close of part 1, which means it's quiz time. In which city are the headquarters of the Met Office? Is it A, Winchester, B, Exeter, or C, Hereford? Whatever the weather, we'll give you the answer after the break, so stay tuned. Welcome back to Digital Nation. So, did you work out the answer to our quiz? The question was, in which city are the headquarters of the Met Office? And the answer is B, Exeter. The UK's National Forecasting Centre has been doing its best to predict our notoriously fickle weather since 1854. And one activity that does very much depend on the weather is surfing. Let's head up to Edinburgh now and meet a woman who continues to ride waves despite 2 serious accidents. Her inspirational story of survival has seen her back in the ocean once again.
I had made my whole life about surfing. I sort of quit a career in law. Surfing was my whole life, it's all I wanted to do. So when this happened, it felt like my whole world had fallen apart. I went up to the top of the wave to try and complete a turn, and there was someone directly in front of me. I knew I would hit him if I completed the manoeuvre, so instead I ditched my board to the side, but unfortunately the lip of the wave hit me on the side of the head. And I just sort of landed from the top of the wave to the bottom, and before I knew it, the lifeguards had me on a backboard, neck brace, and the helicopter was on its way to take me to hospital. It wasn't until I came back to Scotland and got taken into hospital there that they were able to diagnose that it was damage to my C7 nerve in my neck. It had been stretched and damaged, and my whole spinal cord had been bruised. The week after coming out of hospital in Scotland, I was in a fairly bad road traffic accident, so I was back in accident and emergency. For going from being a really active person who's in the ocean all the time to then not wanting to even look at the ocean because I was so terrified, I just didn't really want anything to do with it. It's taken me sort of 2 years to come off all the various medication that I was on as well, pain relief and obviously for the psychological impact that it had. And I definitely feel like this is the best place I've been in for a while. And each session in the water was definitely healing. I think it really inspired me to not give up. And, you really appreciate what's around you more, and it's the relationships in your life that really matter.
Let's head to Liverpool now, where a local homelessness charity called the Whitechapel have set up a centre to tackle the culture of people abusing alcohol in public over the summer. As well as giving them a place to drink, the site will support those who want to curb their alcohol intake and help them access other services like housing or education.
At the rest centres, street drinkers are allowed alcohol but will be supervised and helped to change their lifestyles. It comes after a temporary site last summer seen nearly 400 people engaging and some going into detoxification programmes.
I've been an alcoholic for 18 years. It started when my dad died. Normally I was just drinking in the house and things like that. I've lost my children through the drink. I've just lost my husband. Because I'm already a service user in here, yeah, okay, you can come in here to have a drink or whatever, but also, you can also come in and just have a tea or a coffee and speak to the staff and they'll give you, you know, the advice and the support that you need.
There is a pull for people to come out onto the streets and drink, and therefore what we're trying to do is couple this with the support to those individuals, ensuring that we're looking at their harmful and hazardous intake of alcohol, but looking at supporting the community as well and the tourism agenda for those that are visiting the city. We're looking at dispelling antisocial behaviour where we can, working in partnership with the police to provide a safe space for our street drinkers because they are victims of crime themselves, and also providing a safe community for those who live and work within the city centre.
Here people can access activities and classes, basic care and practical support to help turn their lives around.
If it wasn't for like the Whitechapel and this place, I really don't know where I'd be right now. I'd probably be back on the streets. And so, you know, it's given me another lifeline.
Still to come, an invisible sign. But first, let's fire it up with Creative Kingdom.
According to Billy Joel, we didn't start the fire unless you're from Stockton-on-Tees and you're an early 19th century chemist called John Walker, because he did. John started his working life as a surgeon's apprentice, but he couldn't hack it. So he retrained as a chemist and set up shop on Stockton High Street. One day, he was in the back room when he noticed that a mixture of sulfide, potassium, gum arabic and starch had dried up on a wooden stick. When he scraped it on the floor, he realized that he had sparked a chemical revolution, which he sold in tin boxes of 50 with a free strip of sandpaper. Proof, once again, that when it comes to creativity, innovation, and being a twisted fire starter, it's Stockton-on-Tees Mint.
Now, anyone who knows Harry Potter will recall his famous invisibility cloak. And it seems something of a bedazzling hex was cast over a metal plaque placed outside Bristol Children's Hospital. It took months for the small sign referencing J.K. Rowling's books to be noticed, and this story has a bittersweet ending.
Now then, if you do come down to this part of town, you will definitely recognise this famous sculpture outside of the Children's Hospital. And if you know the Harry Potter series, you're likely to liken them to the goalposts from the Quidditch game in the Harry Potter series as well. Now, this came into the mind of one Cormac C. Choi, who decided to come down here a whole 18 months ago now and install this little plaque, unbeknownst to the staff here at the Children's Hospital, supposedly to brighten up the kids' day as they came in and out of the hospital. It says, dedicated to the children of Bristol, the 1998 Quidditch World Cup posts enchanted by Adu Sosé. Have a magical day. Adu Sosé there being one of the famous Quidditch players from the series. Unfortunately though, Cormac didn't get to see just how long his plaque was going to last here, dying of cancer tragically at the end of last year. Fortunately though, the hospital have now noticed the plaque and they're saying it's going to stay. And all this culminating in J.K. Rowling herself, the author of the Harry Potter series, saying this is the most beautiful Potter-related thing to ever happen.
Waiting tables is something of an art. Up in Newcastle, a presenter braver than I am has given it a go, but she's not dishing up any old nosh. No, this is even more of a challenge. Let's join her as she comes unstuck with some skewers.
I'm here.
Hi. Hi.
I'm sorry I took so long, but I took the slowest walk over here because I was so frightened in case I dropped it.
That's all right.
Right. So now what do I do? This?
So you just aim the skewer down a little bit.
Down?
Yeah.
Oh, a diagonal. And then push.
Yeah. try holding it in this hand.
Yeah.
And then skewering with that one.
Oh yeah, because I'm right-handed. That would make sense. Oh, I feel loads more in control now.
Get the tongues to go down.
Yeah.
That way?
Yep.
Yeah, try that.
What happens if it shoots across the room?
Just do it slowly.
Can I do it bit by bit?
Yeah, of course you can, whatever's easiest for you.
Yeah, I bet you're starving and I'm just here playing.
I'm sure it'll be worth the wait.
Oh, it wants to be worth the wait at the stress I've had walking over here with this.
Try not to grip too much onto the metal, that's it. Just keep doing bit by bit.
Bit by bit.
Can
I just say, this is a lot harder than it actually looks.
This is actually supposed to be fun, believe it or not.
Well, I can see, boys, whilst I've been away, you've made it look a lot more presentable than what I did.
Done some little touch-ups.
Yes.
Yeah.
Barry, so I take it me serving wasn't the best.
It was good.
No, it wasn't. Don't
It was
lie.
good. It was a good
That is a
first
lot
attempt.
better.
So it's chicken, peppers, Malagueta sauce cooked on the open barbecue. That's with a side of Rio beans, which is a big classic Brazilian dish.
So now it is the all-important truth. Let's have a taste. Now, how spicy is this before I taste it?
On a scale of 1 to 10,
yeah,
you're probably talking about 7.
7?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Well, here goes. Mmm. Ooh, spicy. That's so nice.
It's good, yeah.
Mmm.
Now to Lancashire, where a group of ninja knitters have been turning their hobby into something much bigger. Under cover of darkness, they've been yarn bombing the town of Longridge, installing their crafted creations all over to delight locals.
A covert operation at dusk.
We had to synchronise watches, and we all met and got everything together. Everything was put into boxes and sent in different directions, wielding string and cable ties and dashing and dodging.
The village of Longridge awoke last week under a blanket of yarn. The nutty knitters had been at it again. We can't show you their faces, but rest assured there's more needles than ever among the ranks.
You sort of get drawn into it, and I think we realised that there was scope to do these yarn bombings.
Lots of planning, lots of cups of tea, lots of pieces of cake. You can't craft without cake.
Months of planning and hours of secretive installation have seen a makeover fit for a queen. Lampposts with grenadier guards, a Union Jack flag, and even the crown jewels.
I didn't think I could possibly make something like that, but with the encouragement of the rest of the team, the nutty knitters, I thought I'm quite proud of that.
The official number of nutty knitters is unknown.
If you've got a purpose and it's going somewhere, that makes it feel a lot less awful.
We're already planning the next one. So.
Do we get a sneak peek of when that will be?
Oh, it won't be soon. It's going to take a little while, and the darker nights will be about, so it'll be easier to install.
Under the cover of darkness, the ninja knitters will stitch again.
And that's it, folks, on this week's rundown of the best of local TV. If you've enjoyed the show, you can catch up on previous episodes at bbc.co.uk/digitalnation or visit your local TV station's website. But until next week, it's bye-bye from me.